Well, kids are also back in the classroom as a new school year is already underway, but many kids are still struggling with their mental health, even as schools are back to normal in the wake of the pandemic. Joining us now to give us some insight on this important issue is DrLiz Matheis, who's an expert in mental health. Thank you so much for coming on today, DrLiz.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Good
Good morning.
morning. It's great to see you. And, we've had this discussion. It's an ongoing discussion, really, because we're not quite out of the pandemic. We're still dealing with the issues. But what specific issues are kids struggling with today?
A lot of anxiety, struggling with social skills, not really knowing how to integrate with friends. A lot of friendships have changed over time, especially as some of our children went back to school and others chose to remain virtual for a variety of reasons. The one thing I am noticing in our practice right now is we're actually having a lot of crisis. A lot of children are struggling to be in the classroom, having significant struggles that are impacting their ability to access their education and be a part of a classroom.
Yeah, Dr. Matthias, parents, maybe of my generation or, the kids are in high school and so forth. And, when we were growing up, the kids just didn't talk about things like this. So how should the parents respond if your child comes to them and says that they're having an issue?
It's very easy for us as parents when we see that our child is maybe being more mouthy or agitated or rude or disrespectful. For us to kind of go I'm going to punish you route, but let that be a signal to you that something is happening and your child is struggling and can't put it into words. So when that happens, really just calm yourself down as a parent. And I speak from my own personal experience and just say what's going on. Something doesn't seem right. And to listen, just really listen and validate their experience, because our children's biggest fear is that they're going to say something. They're going to say, I'm scared, or I'm angry, or I'm struggling in this subject and I don't know what to do. And we're going to say, you're fine, or don't worry about it. And I don't remember the last time anyone told me don't worry about it and actually worked. But I think as parents to really listen and not to aim to fix, but rather to brainstorm and problem solve together so that our children know that we're with them and on their side. Because regardless, our children a lot of the times feel very alone in their experiences and feel that it's a very individual experience when it's really not. They're part of a very big club.
Yeah. You hear leaders and politicians and everybody saying, oh, this pandemic's over. We're done. COVID is gone. But it's really not. How much of the role of the pandemic is playing in all of this?
How about 1,000%? Is that an option? It's absolutely still here, the impact of it. And I think we're going to need some time to work through the isolation, the withdrawal, the loss of a lot of those milestone field trips and graduations and proms, and just losing out on spontaneous social interaction, extracurriculars. I feel in my own personal home, I have a 16, 13, and 9-year-old. I really feel like they could go back to 2 grades below, because that's really where they're functioning academically, emotionally, socially. And a lot of our children at large are being thrust into this next grade, but they really didn't form the skills that build up to where they are now. And so, I've heard from my own children, I don't really know how to study, or just different skills of, you're going to need extra help. You're going to need to set that up with your teacher. Just skills like that, where I feel like our children are truly lacking. But again, we're in this place right now where we're at pre-pandemic expectations, but we've suffered through a pandemic, and now we have to acknowledge its impact.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. So, doctor, if a parent is concerned that their child, maybe suffering mentally, what are some of the warning signs that they should be on the lookout for?
Anything that you see is a change, right? A child who's now eating more or eating less, sleeping more or sleeping less. They're not enjoying things that they once did. They're isolating or withdrawing more. They're more tearful or more agitated. Our children have a lot of these feelings, and they don't necessarily have the skill to be able to say, I'm feeling increasingly anxious today. You're going to see more of those signs. And then with our help, and with the help of teachers and counselors and therapists, to be able to take those feelings and put them into words so that they feel that they can approach someone, and then there's a positive outcome out of that experience.
You mentioned it. What sorts of resources can parents use to find out more about mental health?
Absolutely reach out to your school counselors. Our teachers are learning more and more about mental health because it's being incorporated into the classroom. Our children are going to their teachers when they're struggling, sometimes before they come to us as parents, because they feel like their teachers are more neutral and may not be judgmental or have the response or reaction. But share with everyone. My perspective tends to be more holistic. So if everyone is on board, then our child is getting support in every single environment. And to really cue them in, what are you seeing? This is what I'm seeing. How can we work together? How can we provide more supports for my child? Whether it's the counseling at the elementary level, middle school level, high school level, being available as needed, and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it really does take a village. It does. And to use those resources that are all around you, it really does matter and make a change. Where can people find out more information about you?
You can go to www.psychedconsult.com. My name is DrLiz Matheis. My practice is psychological and educational consulting in Livingston, New Jersey.
DrLiz, we appreciate you coming on today. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.